Um, hey guys, so I know this is very random that I'm uploading this video, but this is something that I've been hiding from you guys, I guess. It's mainly because I was scared. I didn't want this part of my life to affect how you guys view my family, but it's a big part of me and I feel like someone might take something out of this. Someone might need to hear it, so yeah, that's why I decided to share it with you guys today. I guess I'll just jump right into it. Actually, you guys, I was raised in a cult. That's the last time I'm gonna use that word because I know some people may disagree that this church was one, but for me, I have come to the conclusion that it is one, and the church that I grew up in was called the Unification Church. Depending on how you were raised in the church, some people might have a good upbringing and they might be happy, but other times it might have a negative effect on their upbringing like it did on me. I was gonna share it once I hit 100k and I draw my life or something, but I guess this is like more formal way to address it. So how being raised in the Unification Church affected me. So first off, my parents were very, very religious. They were very strict. My dad, he was a priest even. He was a pastor for a long time. I forgot what's the right word, priest or pastor, but he was a pastor for a long time in the church and he was very strict. So some of the rules in the church is that you can't date, no dating, you have to get matched because then that means that you could keep your purity until you're married. That's one of the biggest rules actually. And of course the typical religious rules like no drinking, no smoking. You have to like bow a whole bunch of times like in special occasions, and you have to fast 7 days before you get married. Like we're like there's a whole bunch of rules, but the rule that affected my life the most was the no dating rule. Falling in love is such a natural thing, right? And I remember when I was in 5th grade, this is the first time when I really felt the severity of it. There was a guy that I liked in my class and I wrote his name all over my diary. Like I guess that's what typical 5th graders do, but in my diary I wrote I wrote his name all over and I wrote like hearts everywhere, and my dad found it and he called the whole family together and we had a discussion on like how sinful it is to like someone and how like it's gonna lead to like, he even talked about like STDs, and he said that's like if you do that, that's like what Satan does or something. Like basically I got in a lot of trouble for having a crush, and yeah, I was blackmailed that if I did ever decide to marry someone outside the church or ever did date or have, you know, sex before marriage, that all my kids are gonna turn out demented and that I was gonna be cursed. And I remember my dad, he used to always try to pick on every little thing that I did and always try to connect that with how I'm gonna end up being a fucked up kid basically. And that's why growing up I remember being really scared for most of the time. I felt guilty 24/7 because, you know, having a crush on someone, love is an unavoidable feeling. And I remember like in elementary school, middle school, and high school, like I didn't date anyone, but I remember having crushes, and every time I did have crushes I would feel guilty. I would feel like it's a bad feeling, it's a satanic feeling, and I'm feeling this way because I'm a horrible kid. And yeah, I was just a really sad kid, and I always thought that my life is destined to be matched with someone and to be married with someone. So I didn't even have any like ambitions in life, like career goals. I just remember being a really sad and scared kid. There was a time when, you know how I talked about like we had to bow sometimes? I remember when I bowed, sometimes my dad would even pick on like how my feet looked when I was bowing, and he said that's linked into like how you're a bad kid or how you're a satanic kid. And yeah, I remember just growing up feeling like shit. I always wish like, why couldn't I be normal? Why couldn't I be like the other kids? Why couldn't I date like the other kids? And I remember, yeah, in high school there was a guy that I really liked and he liked me too, and explaining it to him was so hard. I didn't tell him it was religion, but I just remember keep on telling him like, yeah, we can't date. Just can't. I can't say it because I'm special. this church also teaches that if you're born into this church, you're born with pure blood. If you're born through being blessed, then you're born with pure blood. So because my parents were first generation of this church and the kids were second generation, we were told that we have purer blood than the other people around us. That's why we can't get married like inside the church and stuff. The reason why it's effed up to be raised in that mindset is because whenever bad things happen to you, you start to think that you deserve it. That became like a default mindset for me when I was younger. I remember when I was in middle school, I used to get stares a lot, and a lot of guys, like a lot of men in the, well, one's in middle school it wasn't that bad. Well, it was annoying. Like they would like harass me sexually, I guess. They didn't touch me in middle school. It was more like they would take pictures of me and they would tell me that they loved me and that they want to see me in a bikini, and like they would take me out on my birthday. This was when I was 12. They would take me out on my birthday and yeah, like talk to me very sexually. I don't know what a normal kid would do, but I remember what I was thinking then was that I was getting this treatment because I deserved it, because I'm such a sinful, dirty kid. And yeah, I can't tell this to my parents because yeah, that's just gonna prove to them that I am a dirty kid. After I moved to Japan at 15, you guys know that when I moved to Japan, I couldn't speak Japanese, right? A lot of my support came from friends than family because I couldn't trust my family. So I had a lot of friends back in the States and I was really happy, but when I moved to Japan, I couldn't communicate with anyone because I didn't know how to speak Japanese. So I hung out a lot more with my family and the abuse continued. I only talked about verbal abuse right now, but I remember my older sister, she never believed in the church to begin with, and she used to get whipped a lot, like smacked. One time, there was a time when my dad called me to the room and I saw my older sister and my younger sister just crying, and he started beating them, and he made me watch that because he said that he told me this is what's gonna happen next time if they do something bad, so Steph, you have to make sure that they don't do anything bad, like stuff like that. It's a very abusive upbringing. And okay, so basically what happened was we moved to Japan. I go through anorexia, bulimia, and I have this big rebellious stage. All teenagers rebel. It was the same for me. It was crazy. Like, I was so rebellious. I used to say to my mom that I want to kill my sisters and that like I want to commit suicide. And yeah, I always stated that I hate living at home. I hated our family. Like, it was just really dark place. And one day, so in our church, if you're an infertile lady in the church and you can't have kids, the only way you can have kids is to adopt within the church, because the whole pure blood thing, if you adopt outside of the church, then it's like it's not good because the kid won't have pure blood. You want a pure blooded kid, okay? So when we were in Japan, there was this family that couldn't have kids. And because I stated so much that I hated living at home, one day pulled me aside and asked me if I wanted to be adopted to this family. This is when I was 16, and I think I was just getting over my anorexia, so I was pretty thin at that time too. And yeah, I was super excited because I just wasn't happy at home, and I thought this was my chance to, you know, like, they seemed like a wealthy family and they really wanted a kid, so I thought I'll get a lot of attention there too. So every summer vacation and winter vacation, I would spend it at their place. It was good for the first year, but then second year onwards, like, I used to get, yeah, molested there. I remember even at that time thinking like, yeah, that I deserved it. Yeah, because I was such a dirty kid. I was a really bad kid. That's why I deserved the sexual harassment that I was getting. Eventually, my dad finally asked me, how was it? And I told him that, like, I'm confused because I'm supposed to look at my new adoptive father as a father, but he keeps touching me. And then, yeah. And then after that conversation, like, I just never saw them again. And eventually, I go to uni, and when I went to university, I lived 2 hours away from where our family is. So for a long time, I was surrounded by people who don't believe in the church. And I was finally, like, for once able to learn about, like, different perspectives. And that's when I realized, like, oh, my church isn't right. Like, I personally don't think that it's right, and I want to get out. That's the first time that I thought that, like, yeah, I could be normal and I don't have to be destined to be a dirty kid. I'm not a dirty kid, and yeah, I want to get out. So I made the decision to leave the church. I remember telling my mom, and she was crying, but it was okay. She was okay with it. She was accepting. She didn't force anything. I still haven't told my dad because he's still trying to get me back in the church and stuff. But yeah, soon after I left the church, I got into a relationship, and yeah, the relationship was abusive one. But me being me, thought that I deserved it. It's so weird, like, when you're in an abusive relationship, you don't know that you're being abused. Like, you realize it after everything's over. But I was in an abusive relationship, and yeah, in that relationship I was raped. I remember after I was raped, I used to take, like, pregnancy tests every week. It was winter and everyone went home, so I didn't have any friends to talk to at that time, so I took pregnancy tests. And I remember, like, telling myself, okay, like, if I am pregnant, then my parents will never accept me, because yeah, that's like they always said that sex before marriage was, like, the biggest sin ever, so they wouldn't accept me. So if I am pregnant, I'm gonna commit suicide. I was gonna take a bunch of pills, and if I'm not pregnant, then the universe is gonna punish me and I'm gonna somehow die anyway. That's what I thought. And eventually, like, my period came, so I found out I wasn't pregnant. But I always thought for a really long time that I was gonna die soon. I didn't know how, but I lived every day as if I was gonna die because the world is gonna punish me. And then eventually, after I got out of the relationship, I was really heartbroken because I thought I had to marry him because I had sex with him. But after I broke up, I didn't really have anyone to talk to, and at that time, that's when I stumbled upon, like, Bubzbeauty's videos about her breakup videos and about finding love and the secret to happiness. And it was the first time someone told me that, like, I do have a purpose in life, and that, like, I am lovable, and that relationships falling apart is normal. I remember just watching Bub's, like, videos, like, all the time, and at first it was hard to believe because I thought I was destined to be a dirty kid. I thought I was destined to be, like, yeah, a bad kid. And there she is, just telling me, like, how I'm worth something, and that breaking up is okay, being in relationships is okay, like, falling in love is okay, it's a part of life. Eventually, after hearing so much positive words from Bubs, I finally started to believe in myself that, oh, I'm not destined to, you know, have a sucky life. Like, I can be good, and I'm not a bad kid. I guess if I were to connect it with my YouTube journey, I always wanted to inspire people the way Bubs did for me, because I know how powerful it could be, and I know how lonely life could be, and one person telling you that you're worth something and that you're capable and you're lovable and you're not bad. I realized how much that could change someone's life, and I really wanted to do the same. It became like a habit for me to think that I'm a bad kid, but eventually, after 6 months of, like, trying every single day, telling myself good things, I started to believe that I'm a good person. That's when I studied abroad to Korea soon after. And yeah, started my YouTube journey by making little vlogs, being positive, telling people, yeah, that life's a happy journey, and yeah, that you're capable and you can do anything in life, and yeah, trying to show it through my actions. Of course, there were a lot of failures, especially in terms of dieting, but as you guys know, if you guys are, like, long-term followers. But yeah, here I am with, I just hit 100,000 subscribers, which is unbelievable, and I just went over another slump. I don't know what this journey is gonna bring me, but that's my story, guys. I guess I could end this by saying, for those of you guys who were raised in an abusive home, and for those of you guys who were raised with people telling you that you're stupid, or like, yeah, you're a bad kid, or you're whatever negative term, someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality. Yeah, and you could be whatever you want to be. You could be free like me, guys. I feel like I'm really mentally free compared to my past, and it was definitely really hard at first. I used to watch a bunch of positive videos every day because I always had to remind myself that I'm not a bad kid, I'm not a bad kid. And you guys aren't either. Yeah, just watch a lot of motivational videos. I'll leave all the links that I'm like subscribed to and watch. I still watch them every day because, yeah, sometimes you just need that push. Yeah, guys, like, be nice to yourself. Treat yourself as if you're your best friend, and talk to you as if you're your best friend. Like, give yourself a hug or a tap in the back sometimes. If there's something you could take from my story, please treat people with respect. Treat people as if they matter, because one little action can mean the world to somebody. And I guess if Bubs, I don't think she'll ever watch this video, but Bubs, if you do, hi, I'm the girl that came to a lot of your meet and greet once, and I was so teary just by looking at her that I just like gave her a letter, hugged her, took a selfie, and ran away. I have a vlog on that too, and I was just like looking at her from the distance. But Bubs, I just want to say thank you for being alive in this world, and that you helped me so much. You helped me be capable of love and trusting people and believing in myself that I'm not a bad kid. And yeah, just want to say thank you, Bubs, if you're watching. And thank you guys for watching too, and following me on my journey and trusting in me. Oh gosh, this is so emotional. Oh, and don't be afraid to share your story too, guys, because you never know who could learn from your story. Peace, guys. Hey guys, just a little, I guess, side note. My father in particular, he's not as abusive anymore, and most of the children in the family don't believe in the church anymore. Because we're the majority and we're a lot bigger now, we could defend for ourselves. And yeah, the older girls tend to have this tendency to try to protect our younger brothers. So yeah, everything, our whole family dynamic is fine. Like, in terms of being forced to believe in something, none of that happens anymore. Yeah, my family lives in a calm environment now. So yeah, I could imagine some of you guys being worried about like the boys and the kids back home, but no, we're fine now. So yeah, just a side note. Just in case. But yeah, thank you guys all for watching. I'm sorry if it triggered some things, but I just really have to say thank you guys. You guys definitely changed my life for the better, and yeah, I'll see you guys in future vlogs. Bye guys.